Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
So, I'm excited. I hope you are too. First of all, I hope that you all are having a good time this weekend. I know that for many people, this is NFL weekend. I guess the NFL began today in the United States. That's the National Football League, our football, not worldwide football, but our domestic football. And everyone's going crazy talking about, oh, I'm eating wings and drinking beer and watching the games. Yesterday was my wife's birthday. I spent the entire day with her. We were out and about doing a million different things. We went to one of her favorite restaurants and got a nice, delicious dinner. Had some wine together at the end of the night. So it was a nice day for me. For other people, it was Tokon Day. Huh? Well, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's a new fighting game coming out next year, and it's from ArcSys, the people who had made Dragon Ball FighterZ, Guilty Gear, and BlazBlue. It had a beta yesterday only. It was a closed beta only for 36 hours. It started 9 p.m. on Friday night and ended this morning at 8 a.m. Okay? Well, should I talk about this now? Why not? I was in it because I registered for it like weeks ago. They had announced, oh, registrations for this beta. So I had signed up for it, but when I did, you had to do it through this weird link. Usually, if you want to sign up for a beta, you would go to like a website and fill out a web form saying, you know, your name, your preferred platform, if you have like a YouTube channel, all that stuff. This had none of that. This was click here, log into your PlayStation Network account, which of course I have a long-standing PSN account, put in your details, and that's it. I didn't get an email saying confirm that you're registered for it. We'll let you know. Nothing. It just, so I had no idea that the beta was even going to happen or that I was going to get into it. I was streaming on Friday night, my Friday Night Fight stream. They emailed me to tell me that I was in the Tocon beta while it was already live. That sounds like good timing, doesn't it? Like tell someone in the midst of a very limited timed beta that you're in the beta. Why not tell me like 3 days early so I can plan for it? No, tell me while the beta is going on. It wouldn't have mattered anyway because I was going to spend time with my wife for her birthday. I don't give a crap about the Marvel Tocon beta. My wife's way more important to me than this random ass fighting game. But a 36-hour limited window for a closed beta is probably the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. And that's the dumbest fucking beta that's ever been held. I have never in my life heard of a beta that you have to give up an entire day of your life, no matter what, no chance to get into it later. Fuck you, play it or just skip it and miss out. Huh? So I can't have a life. I can't, actually have like responsibilities or a schedule. You're just supposed to, you're going to send me an email during the beta, so I couldn't even prepare for it. And you expect me to now just change everything in my life for your fighting game. How about this? No, I'm not going to do that. My life is more important to me than your fighting game. If you actually want me to care, you should actually tell me ahead of time. You should actually allow me to plan. You should actually respect my time as a gamer and not try to act like you're more important than me, because you're not. Sorry, Marvel Tocon. Anyway, so I had a great day, and the entire fighting game community dropped everything to play it. I'm serious. They did. Like, oh, well, because this is all we do. All our eggs are in one basket, so we've got to drop our lives and change all our schedules around because we got into this beta. So they did. And they played it in the 36 hours, and I saw quite a few people play it, including, what's that guy, Diaphone, the guy who had actually made a video regarding my Street Fighter 6 play early on during the run of Street Fighter 6 2 years ago. He actually won a tournament in Tampa, Florida, which is kind of cool. He won basically the first tournament for the game. Throwbacks to back when new releases would come out. Like, remember when Super Street Fighter 4 came out and I entered a midnight tournament for it at a game store and I won with DJ? It's kind of cool to see people, day one be hype. I saw Justin Wong play. I saw Nerd Josh play. I saw Sonic Fox play, okay? So, just watching a few different videos, here's my impressions, okay? It's definitely the kind of game that's going to get hype. It's big, flashy combos, big explosions, giant damage, okay? It's what people like to watch. I'm just going to emphasize that. It's what people like to watch. But this really harkens back to me to the days of Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and or even Dragon Ball FighterZ, where it seems like if you can get one hit in, you can capitalize and get an insane combo. I actually saw someone with Ms. Marvel get like an 80% combo that was like dash up 3 attacks into a assist that created almost like a wall bounce state. Then she did another 3 attacks into a super. It was 80% damage. What the fuck? It's supposed to be a fighting game. Why are you losing 80% of your character to one simple combo? It wasn't even like, oh, a counter hit combo. You know, no, it was a simple combo like assist, super, 80% damage. In addition, some of the stuff that I've seen, the game looks a little bit more slow than I would have expected. Like, you know, recently we had the Marvel vs. Capcom collection. And so everyone was playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2. The game looks slower than MVC 2. The game kind of looks like it's meant for online play, meaning they built it for rollback netcode. So what does that mean? It means there's going to be pattern play. It means there's going to be simpleton gameplay, easy input, everything easy to execute, nothing tough to do. It just looks like it's a baby zone game. I'm sorry, it looks like it's made for play schoolers. Now, it looks hype, meaning there's going to be big flashy combos. People are going to want to see the superheroes beat the crap out of each other. But it doesn't, to me, look like a competitive fighting game that's going to be like something from you know, yesteryear where there was actually challenge and skill involved. It's just going to be online pattern play again. That's what it looks like to me. Now, again, this is one day of people playing it. They already figured out 80% damage combos, ridiculous strings. Like, basically what it looks like to me is Dragon Ball FighterZ with a skin and with some different mechanics when it comes to the assists. Okay, because there's the stage transitions. A lot of people are very critical of these stage transitions, saying they don't really like them. And that they're basically kind of jarring to the game. Some people are saying the animations are too long, like super animations take forever. And again, it seems like that's because for a crowd, you want the crowd to react when something like that. Again, it seems like this is a crowd pleaser game. This is a game that may have been made, that it's a stream hype game, that when you're streaming it or you're playing it in a tournament, everyone's excited. But when you actually play it, it's just not that good. Again, I harken back to MVC3, where at first I was hyped for it. And then within that first year of playing it, I just hated it. Like, dude, I don't want a game where every time I get hit, I lose an entire character. Or I activate X Factor and now I kill your entire character. I thought that was awful for competitive play. So it's rough, man. It's rough for me. I mean, if I was a modern FGC player and all I knew were modern fighting games like Marvel and Dragon Ball and Street Fighter 5 and 6, I'd probably be like, oh, I'm so hyped. But I've played better games. I just played Marvel 2 in the Marvel 2 collection. That, to me, looks like a better game. But these are not the opinions you will hear from the fighting game community. I just want to make this abundantly clear. There are people out there who agree with me on stuff like this, but you'll never hear people in the fighting game community talk about it. Why? Well, let's see. I got into the Marvel Tocon beta and I streamed it and I had record high viewer numbers. Everyone was supporting my stream and I made a whole ton of bucket load of fucking money, right? So obviously I'm not going to criticize the game. I'm going to say it's the best fighting game ever so that I can make money. And that's a big difference between back in the day and today. Because back in the day, there was no money to be made. I'll say that again. Back in the day, there was no money to be made. If you were a competitive fighting game player, you did it for the love of the game. You did it because you enjoyed the games, not because you were going to make a bucket load of money streaming the game. Get it? So because of that, the entire FGC is kissing this game's ass, even though me watching, I'm like, it doesn't look that good. Again, it really strongly reminds me of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which I didn't like. So here we are over a decade later, and it looks like it's a different company releasing a very similar game. And because we haven't had Marvel in a while, it's probably going to do well. I would bet it might even be the biggest fighting game of next year. I'm going to go on record, and I'm going to say it early. I think that Marvel Tocon will likely be the biggest fighting game of 2026. It's going to beat the Invincible game. It's going to beat that 2XKO joke of a game. It's going to beat everything. Even Street Fighter 6, I feel like it might surpass Street Fighter 6. Why? Because it's Marvel characters and because it has a hype-looking gameplay that when you stream it or you play it in tournament, it's flashy. That doesn't mean that it's going to be amazing. All right. But that you won't hear that from the FGC for the most part. I am overgeneralizing, but if you see these people that are absolutely freaking out about the game, it's like, so what exactly is great about the game? Can you explain in detail what is so amazing about this game? Well, I'll tell you what's amazing about the game. You had a great amount of viewers and you made a lot of money. That's what was great about the game. It doesn't look that good to me. And again, I'm not the only one. It's just the people who have this mentality are old school players who have played better, but they're not prominent in the modern FGC. You know what I'm saying? A ton of the people from my generation retired on purpose. They said, we don't want to play modern fighters. They suck. So they just stopped playing. Some of them now are part of the tournament scene where they run tournaments or they even run arcades or they do stuff like that, or they just outright retired and don't play anymore. But, in general, these modern fighting games are not it. That's why I've been playing CVS 2 for months, okay? And we're going to talk about that today because, sadly, I hate to say this, we may be taking a break from fighting games, all right? We're going to talk about basically each game in my schedule and talk about what's going on currently with fighters because Friday night's stream was not satisfying to me in any way, and I want to talk about that. It sucks. We'll talk about it, though. All right, there's a troll. You would think that at one point these trolls would stop with the tips that they know I'm not going to read, but I guess they're just that stupid. I don't take the bait. Okay, so thanks for early support. Let's talk about that. Let's get this out of the way so we don't have to keep bringing it up during the show. Last week, saw some high highs and some low lows. What does that mean? There were some streams last week where we had great attendance, great engagement, absolutely great support, and we hit and exceeded goals. That's why early on last week, when I was expecting to do DSP tries near the middle or end of the week for the Calorie Mate nutritional bars, we ended up doing it right at the beginning. Like, what was it, Sunday, Monday? We ended up doing it right away. Like, whoa, I certainly wasn't expecting that. And because of that, we kind of had to scurry to figure out what the next DSP tries it was going to be. Now, what I thought was, maybe by the end of the week, we'll hit another goal. So I need to do something, that'll be earlier on the early side. And so we said, hey, let's do the Return to Katsu Burger, where we go to this business that I went to, a restaurant that I went to in November, where they do Japanese katsu frying to pork, chicken, beef burgers and more. And it's really unique. They have all these cool things. They call one like the Godzilla burger and stuff like that. We tried one. It was absolutely amazing. All right. So I said that would be a cool thing to return to. But then what ended up happening last week was kind of unpredictable. After that incredibly fast start to last week where we hit tons of goals and everything, it slowed down dramatically, like ridiculously dramatically. Like basically it was very, very tough for me to hit goals. There were some really tough days where even playing a new release like Metal Gear Solid Delta, hell, even on Friday playing Chronos, the New Dawn, the brand new release, I couldn't hit a support goal. It's not that these streams were not supported. I want to make this clear. It's not the case at all, but we're just getting maybe around $100 or whatever. We're not getting to the 150 goal. All right. So even after hitting the goals so early, we only hit 4 goals all week. Okay. Is this the end of the world? No. But obviously this is not a pattern that I want to see keep reproducing itself. I want to get back on track. I want to be hitting goals. I want to be doing reward DSP tries-its. So here's the thing. Because last week, all right, we had a situation where we barely hit any goals. We're going to change up the DSP tries-it reward. It is not going to be Katsu Burger anymore. Because on this Tuesday, September 9th, Taco Bell is releasing a new Decades menu, which will include 2 throwback burritos. One of them I know is chili and cheese. I forget what the other one is. And then they're also going to be doing the Doritos Locos Taco, but not the cheese one that everyone has gotten, but this cool ranch version that apparently they had at one point and then they got rid of. They're also going to have some kind of like an apple empanada dessert. All right. So DSP tries it this week will be when we hit 50 goals, the new Taco Bell Decades menu. All right. And I'm excited for this because it sounds interesting. We haven't had Taco Bell in many, many months. It was actually, I want to say it was like the fall or early this year when we did it last. So I hope that we will hit that goal sooner rather than later. We can do it as early as Tuesday. If we get a big rally of support, then we will do it as early as Tuesday's daytime stream. But we have to be hitting goals. And I'm happy. Thank you to Stevester, Harundum, and the Anonymous Tipper for the early support today. I really appreciate that. That gets us on the right track. Please, let's hit a goal for this Metal Gear Solid Delta stream and get that momentum flowing. Notably, I will say this. Last week was a very slow week on Kick. And what I mean by that is, usually, even when we have a few slow streams here or there, we do get Kick support in general. We'll get some gifted subs here or there. Last week, man, I don't know what happened. It was so slow over there. Like I said, the beginning of the week, we had one person who was like generous and ended up being a dunce troll, but I keep the support anyway. They're just that stupid. And after that, it was just like dragging the feet all week long. A lot of LARPers were out in full force, meaning they were out to basically be dicks and just basically be toxic and troll people. Here's the funny part, all right? So, all last week, I'm being yelled at, right? Why are you still playing old games? Like, why are you playing Grand Theft Auto, Ballad of Gay Tony? Why are you trying to get this to work? You should be playing the new games. You should be playing Hollow Knight Silksong. You should be playing Chronos. You should be playing the new games. Forget these old games. Drop them. Get them out of the schedule. So what happened on Thursday night was I went to play Ballad of Gay Tony again. It didn't work. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. Let's play Silksong. We did, and it worked really well. Silksong people loved it and said, will you play it more? And I said, yes, we'll play it now. Let's get it in the schedule. So it is official. Hollow Knight Silksong is in the schedule, and we're going to start playing it as a playthrough this week. I want to make that abundantly clear that it is in the schedule, okay? So I make this announcement. All the LARPers come out on Friday. Oh, what a horrible choice. I can't believe you're dropping Ballad of Gay Tony. Oh, but so many people came out and supported just to see Ballad of Gay Tony. Why would you do? Wait a minute. Literally the night before, you were all in the same fucking chat complaining that I was playing Ballad of Gay Tony instead of Silksong. So now I say we're not going to play Ballad of Gay Tony. We're going to do Silksong instead. And you come back the next day to complain and say I shouldn't be playing Silksong. How about this? Go fuck yourself. No one cares about your whiny bitch asses. All you're doing is you are called contrarians. You come to my streams and you sit in the chat LARPing, pretending to be a viewer or a fan. But then whenever I make a decision, you complain that I did the wrong thing. We're not stupid. I wasn't born yesterday. I'm not dumb, and I'm not going to sit here and listen to your bullshit. You're just such a whiny bitch, and I don't care. So this week, there will not be any Ballad of Gay Tony. Why? Because it doesn't work with mods. We tried 2-3 different things. It looks like we could possibly get it to work, but is it worth it? Right now, we're in the midst of so many games, right? Metal Gear Solid Delta, Gears of War Reloaded campaign, which you guys said you wanted and actually have been showing up and supporting. We've got Chronos, The New Dawn now beginning, right? We're still continuing with Suikoden 2, which we're about 1/3 through right now. And now Hollow Knight Silksong came out. I played it for an hour. You guys loved it and want more. So there you go. That's the schedule. I don't see a reason why we should be playing Ballad of Gay Tony right now. Maybe we will go back at some point in the future and do it. But for now, we put so much effort into it. It still doesn't work. I'm tired of it. All right. So this week will be a good week. We'll talk about the schedule in a little bit and how we're juggling it and everything. But it should be a great week. But man, let's please get some goals hit so we can do DSP tries it. I want to do it as soon as possible. I don't want to be, I'm 2 weeks into this and I go to do it, and then the Decades menu is off the menu. Remember, this has happened a few times. Once we tried to do the Shake Shack hot dog menu, but by the time we hit the goals, it was already done, right? If you remember. So let's go. Let's get some support today. How about this? We got some super chats already. We got some tips already. Let's get our first sub of the week right now over on Kick. Who's going to be the first sub gifter of the week? The leaderboard has reset. Let's get someone to give some subs on Kick to support the stream. And how about this? Let's get someone to either become a member or give some memberships on YouTube. That way we got a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of everything. Let's go. Okay? Let's go. All right. So, good stuff there. I have one little thing I want to bitch to get off my chest. All right? And then we can move on. And what we'll do is we'll talk. I want to talk about Chronos, what I think about Chronos The New Dawn now that I played it for a stream. I want to talk about the schedule because Silksong's in the schedule now. And now I want to do some Q&A. But basically, one little thing to get off my chest, okay? So 2 weeks ago, as I was beginning to start a stream here, I got a pop-up that said, hey, update OBS. There's a new beta out, and this beta gives you a new feature. Your chair will be automatically removed when you turn on the background removal tool. Now, for those who don't know what the background removal tool is, it's this. Okay? As you can see, my other camera here is in the shot. Let me turn it off. There we go. So the background removal tool cuts out my background and has something behind me. And this is what I use for when I do gameplay. You know, for example, when I'm over here, whoops, I hit the wrong thing. When I'm over here. Hello. Now, as you can see, I'm transparent today. I should turn that off because in order to remove my chair, I need to use a green screen effect. And I put a cover on my chair so that my chair is not in the shot and it's just me in the shot. But the problem is I have to keep putting on the cover on my chair and use this green screen effect. And it's not perfect. Sometimes it causes issues and stuff. So obviously what I would like to do, is have it be more streamlined and not have that issue. So they updated OBS 2 weeks ago and said the NVIDIA background removal tool has been updated in OBS. Now it's supposed to take your chair out automatically. So if this is the case, I wouldn't need to have the green screen. I wouldn't need to have the cover on my chair. It would just work by itself. It's been improved. The AI has been improved to get rid of your chair. Oh, great. Let's do it. So I update OBS. I go to use it. Oh, my Stream Deck doesn't work at all. What is my Stream Deck? Well, I tried lifting it the other day, and it won't. I can't get it in the shot here because the USB cable isn't long enough. But basically, Stream Deck, here it is. You can see it. It's a device here that I use. It has buttons on it. And what Stream Deck is, it's by Elgato. And it is a device that allows you to control your stream remotely using all these buttons. So with Stream Deck, I start recording and I stop recording. I switch between scenes like this. Okay, or the gameplay screen. I can switch all around. Okay, I can play effects. I can do different epic close-ups. Okay, it's pretty cool. I definitely like Stream Deck, and since I started using it, it has dramatically improved my setup, and my shows are better. Everything's better. Okay, without Stream Deck, I could still do all of this, but I would have to be manually clicking around all these options in OBS, which is tedious, it's slower to do, and it's basically not as on the fly. I wouldn't be able to just transition to a scene quickly. I'd have to like look around a menu to find it and shit. And to be honest, that's what I did for a very long time, and I didn't like it. So Stream Deck has been a huge improvement. I don't want to stream without Stream Deck. It would be like going 10 steps back, okay, from all these improvements that I've done. So I updated OBS. Oh, Stream Deck doesn't work. Why not? Well, Stream Deck is made by Elgato. It's not the company that makes OBS, open broadcast software. And for this to work, they need to give you a plugin that lets that work, okay? So, let me see. Is there an updated plugin? No. So basically, OBS updates, but now nothing is working properly with it. Stream Deck won't work, okay? So I tried again last week. It was like a week later. There's still no plugin update. So I still cannot use the updated version of OBS. I still can't use the updated background removal tool. It still doesn't work. This morning, I opened up OBS to stream. Oh, new update. So now it's updated again. OBS beta 2 now. So it's not just the beta from 2 weeks ago. Now there's an update to the beta. Performance improvements, bug fixes, all this. Okay, cool. I download it. I go to do it. Stream Deck still doesn't work. It's been over 2 weeks. There's still no update. So I cannot use any of these updates for OBS because Stream Deck will not work with them. What the hell is the problem? Why are we dragging our feet? See what I mean? Like, what is going on? I don't get it. I don't understand how this works. Again, I'm new to all this technology. Usually I don't do the updates right away. I hold off from them just in case there's problems. In this case, there's something that I distinctly want out of the new OBS. I want this feature. I don't want to have to put the green screen on my chair. I don't want to have different things that don't work as well. I want to use the new technology. I want to use the updated AI. And I can't because Stream Deck hasn't released this stupid plugin yet. So it sucks. So today, for example, I'm wearing a green shirt. Guess what that means? I can't use the green screen. which means today when I play Metal Gear and I play Chronos, you have to see the chair in the shot, and there's nothing I can do about it. I'm sorry. I wish that I could have it go away, but I can't. That's just how it works. I'm stuck right now. Hopefully they will update it. I don't understand what's taking them so damn long. So hopefully they do update it soon, and I'll be able to use it. But for now, I can't. Okay? John, thank you for re-upping your membership. That membership from John actually is an active one, and we can count that towards the stream. That's a $3 of support right there. So now we got everything but a sub. Can we get a sub on Kick, please? Can the viewers on Kick stop being schlubs and actually support? That would be great. Let's get our first sub of the week right now. I'm serious. We already got a membership. We already got tips. We already got super chats. Let's get some support from the people who watch me on Kick every day and get it for free. Let's go. One other thing, because people keep bringing this up, and I do want to bring it up because it's been talked about all week. So last week, the White House, the presidential branch of our government, or I guess it's called the executive branch of our government, posted up an actual public post on social media stating that it is now official. They've changed the tax code, and tips will no longer be taxable in the United States. Meaning if you're someone who receives tips, you're not going to pay tax on them anymore. All right? And you might say, really? Well, what does this include? Well, the White House actually clarified. Seriously, they clarified. They said this includes, waiters and waitresses, bartenders, all these people who get tipped, but they also specifically called out digital content creators. What? Yeah, they called out digital content creators and said if you receive tips, they are not taxable income anymore. Wow. Well, that's a huge change, not paying taxes on tips. Now, here's the thing, and this is the big confusion that's going on right now, okay? It's not that simple. It would be great to say, oh, if you tip a content creator, they don't have to pay tax on it anymore, so that's the preferable way to support, and you should do that because you're going to help out that content creator a lot more, right? Well, with tax code, it's never simple. Like, literally, it's never simple. So, number one, okay, what is a tip? Right now, at this very moment, Lance Catamaran just gifted a sub on Kick. That's our first sub of the week. Thank you, Lance. Is that a tip? If you super chat me right now on YouTube, is that a tip? If you send me a tip via PayPal directly to my PayPal, is that a tip? If you pledge to my Patreon, is that a tip? Here's one thing I can outright tell you is not a tip. If you buy merchandise from my darksydephil.shop store, there's no way that could ever be considered a tip. That's an actual purchase of a piece of merchandise that you're going to receive. Therefore, that would never be considered a tip, okay? But the question is, out of all the other things, all these ways of getting income, what is actually a tip and what isn't, right? You don't know. Do you know? I don't know. No one knows yet because this is brand new. Never before has there been a tax consideration for tips for digital content creators, right? So here's the thing. If it's every contribution, right, then I guess it doesn't really matter how you contribute. Everything's great. But don't you think that if it's only specific tips, like let's say they say only direct contributions to a creator, you can't go through a third party like YouTube and get something out of it. They could argue and say, well, you see, if you do a super chat on YouTube, there's a message that pops up in the chat and you purchased that as your transaction, that's not a tip. Or if you get a sub on Kick, you purchased a subscription-based service via Kick, that's not a tip. You purchased a subscription, you see? As opposed to, oh, I just want to send someone a tip directly via PayPal. That's considered a tip. That's not taxable. The answer to these questions is no one knows yet. It's going to be up to tax professionals, accountants. All these people are going to have to dig into the new law and actually figure out how to figure this out. Okay? No one knows yet. No one actually knows what's considered a tip. So what's confusing about the law? The law says things such as this. As of next year, payment processors such as PayPal will not be required to provide tax documentation to anyone who receives tips or funds under $20,000 or under 200 transactions. Okay? So I want you to think about that. $20,000 and 200 transactions. Well, if you're someone who makes a living based on tips, what if you're a waiter? What if you're a bartender, right? Anyone who gets a tip regularly, right? Basically, you do how many, transactions a day? Let's say you're a waiter and you wait tables. Probably during one shift, let's say you work a 6-hour shift, right? You're probably going to have 10 to 20 customers during that shift. Each customer will leave you a tip. So that's 10 to 20 transactions in one day. So now you work for a living. Literally within a month, you're going to have probably hundreds to thousands of tips. If the law is saying, oh, it's only exempt up to 200 transactions, what? Well, that doesn't make any sense. Anyone who actually makes a living off of tips, that means that they wouldn't be eligible for the tax exemption. Does that make any sense? What about the $20,000? Okay. So $20,000 supposedly is this threshold, right? Can you make a living only making $20,000 a year? No, not in the United States. So if you make more than 20 grand, you're not exempt from taxes? You see what I'm saying? It's completely confusing. No one understands the law yet. And what's going to happen is actual tax professionals will have to mess around with it to figure this out. What is exempt? What isn't exempt? Here's what I'm thinking. And I could be wrong because I'm not a tax professional. All right. Here's what I'm thinking. The law is only going to apply probably for around $20,000 and then it cuts off. Meaning if you get tips, $20K will not be taxed by the U.S. government. Anything over $20K will still be taxed by the U.S. government. Okay? Transactions. This is bizarre to me. I don't see how there could be a transactional limit because someone can literally receive $201 tips or someone can get $200,000 tips. The number of transactions should make no sense at all. Zero. It shouldn't have affected at all because you don't know the amount. I think it should be a dollar threshold. And I think ultimately that's what's going to end up being. It's going to end up being some kind of a dollar amount. So ultimately, does this mean that people make a living on tips are now not going to have to pay taxes at all? No, I don't think so. I think what's happening is the U.S. government is going to give people who get taxes a break. Okay? You'll have to pay less taxes. It doesn't mean that you're going to pay no taxes. All right? So ultimately, someone who's a full-time creator, sure, they may push you towards, hey, please tip me. But ultimately, once they hit that 20K of income, it doesn't matter how you contribute. Otherwise, the taxes are all going to be the same again. So ultimately, in a year, it's not going to be a big deal. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, just tip me. Don't contribute any other way. I'm not going to say that. That's stupid. Because at one point, you're going to hit the threshold. It's not going to matter anymore. There you go. Now, the way I see it, I really feel like it's going to have to be analyzed and looked at before we know. So, no, I'm not going to say to you guys, hey, just tip me now because I don't have to pay taxes on it. That'd be incredibly stupid. In fact, you're not going to hear me mention this at all. What I'm going to say next year, when I go to start filing my taxes, obviously I'm going to have to talk to my tax guy and be like, listen, a big chunk of what I get is considered tips. You know, not super chats, not subscriptions, not memberships, but actual just direct tips. Is that what we're talking about? Do I need to break these out for you? Do I have to actually show you the transactions? Because, I mean, I could pull up my PayPal account balance and stuff and send it to my tax guy, but I don't know how this is going to work. And if it's 200 transactions, it's absolutely stupid. Like, no lie, within like a week, I probably get 200 transactions. So it's really not going to help me at all. So I guess we'll see. But I think people keep bringing it up in my chat. They keep saying, "Oh, how's this going to affect you? Did you hear about the good news?" I'm like, no one knows anything right now. No one understands it. This happens every time that they change the tax code. Everyone scratches their head like if it's going to benefit them or not. Like originally, when Trump first became president back in, what was it, 2016? A lot of people thought that the taxes were actually going to get worse. But for me, they got better. I don't know why, but taxes actually got better. I was under the impression, all the media was saying, oh, your taxes are going to get so much worse because of Trump and all this. And then he made the tax change and my taxes got better. Now, I'm not rich. It's not like I'm a billionaire. But everything you hear is, oh, well, because the tax code changed, only billionaires are affected and they get big bonuses. Well, my taxes went down. So what are you talking about? A lot of the times what you hear is just blatant misinformation because of political bullshit reasons. It's very hard as an American citizen to even know what the hell's going on because half the time when you try to get actual news or facts, you're getting political spin with the news and facts, so you don't know what to believe. So for me, the way I see it, any benefit to taxes is good, right? Any discount you're going to get, anything you don't have to pay is a great change. But first of all, does it affect right now or does it only affect next year? I'm under the impression that it only affects next year, not now, because you can't retroactively apply a law. So if the law goes into effect now, it's going to affect 2026 taxes, not 2025. So I won't even see a benefit for this for a couple of years. You see? So everyone freaking out. No reason to freak out about this topic. We don't know enough about it yet to really make any kind of a determination. Okay? Okay, cool. Let's continue, shall we? So thank you guys so much for the early support. Much appreciated. We're now starting off today with a great $68 head start. That is absolutely amazing. Can we get to $100 by the end of the podcast? If we do, then we would only have to raise $50 during Metal Gear, and it would be an easy job to do. So can we hit $100 by the end of the show? Thank you so much to Extra Bondage and Lance Catamaran over on Kick. Thanks to the Anonymous Tipper. Thanks to Stevester and Harundum. Thanks to John for re-upping his membership. Thanks, everybody. Can we get some more momentum and get 100 by the end of the show? Let's find out. Okay, cool. Tomorrow night on the late stream, we are going to be doing Hollow Knight Silk Song. So that's right. We played it for an hour on Thursday night. I only got a small taste of what the game is. I like it. The viewers loved it and said, yes, please play it. So tomorrow night, it is Hollow Knight Silk Song. If you've been screaming for Silk Song, please show up, engage, and support with the Silk Song stream tomorrow night. All right? That's going to show me that these were not just contrarian people screaming at me, saying that they wanted it just because I wasn't playing it. Okay? I like the idea of playing Silk Song. I like this kind of game. But I need people to actually show up, engage, and support with it. If I start playing it, and the stream is dead, and the attendance is bad, and the support's non-existent, then I'm not going to play it. Okay? Fair enough? There you go. So let's see how that goes. The only difference at the end of the week on Friday night, we're going to do Friday Night Fights, Capcom versus SNK2 again. However, this is the final topic I have to talk about for today before we get to Q&A. Last week, we brought back Friday Night Fights. Okay, I hadn't done fighting games on a Friday night in a while because we had a marathon, because we had a new release, because I had a day off one week. So because of that, it hadn't been like almost a month since we did them on a Friday. Now, typically when we did fighting games on Friday nights, they did well, meaning a lot of people would show up and engage and support, and we'd find a lot of comp, and it would be a lot of fun. Friday night, not so much. What I mean by that is it was incredibly difficult to actually find competition in this game at this point, even on PlayStation, which seems to be everyone's remaining platform of choice for this game. Okay, I tried to play it on PC and I couldn't find anyone weeks ago. Everyone said, "Oh, everyone went to PlayStation," and I was like, "Oh, okay, we'll play it on PlayStation." Well, I had a really tough time finding competition. All right, I was searching and searching. Then I would find someone. I'd play them for a game. Their connection lagged like crazy. They literally only abused the lag, meaning roll throw, roll jab, roll mash. It's pathetic. These people don't know how to play fighting games. They're abusing the lag on purpose because it's the only way that they can win. And the sad fact is some of these people got to grandmaster ranking literally roll mashing buttons. They're horrible scrubs. So playing them isn't satisfying. I usually end up spanking them. And then we get no satisfaction out of it because none of the matches are good games. Now, luckily, I do have a viewer, King Crimson, who has joined me to play me on PlayStation 5 pretty frequently in the last few sessions. But I can't just play one guy. I need to have a variety of comp. And the truth is, the people who are playing this game are not good at it. They're terrible. They've literally abused lag to get to where they are. They never bothered learning actual gameplay mechanics to know what to do. And they suck shit. And that's sad. The people who are the highest ranked on PlayStation are some of the worst players. The person who's ranked number 1 on PlayStation actually can't do an anti-air. They literally see you jump and then they roll and mash buttons because their internet connection's so bad, the rollback favors their mashed input and they get a throw or a jab instead of you actually being able to punish the roll, which is how it's supposed to be. So, it's pretty pathetic. I've enjoyed playing Capcom vs. SNK 2 way more than I thought that I would. Seriously. I actually thought that I would only play this for a little bit and I'd get bored with it, but we've played it for over 3 months, and I have enjoyed more and more and more learning this game. In truth, CVS 2 is a game that back in the day I probably should have played more of, because when you take a look at the big 4, which is Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, and Capcom vs. SNK 2, CVS 2 plays more like Super Turbo than the other games. Okay? So I probably should have learned it better and played it more back in the day. I did not. I regret that now because I actually really like the game, but there's just no comp for it. Like, I've played players from the past who I know, but the connections are laggy as shit. So I can't really get much out of that. You know, if I play Smooth Cat, great. I play his P groove and he parries the shit out of me, but I can't learn the timing to beat it because the game lags like crazy. So what's the point, right? So, yeah, it's frustrating. Now, here's the thing. On Friday night, I not only was able, let me rephrase. I wasn't able to consistently get good opponents. In addition, we did have good support, but we didn't hit a goal. All right, we did, though. We had over $100 of support for Capcom vs. SNK 2, and I appreciate that. Anytime I'm playing a fighting game and you guys are doing over $100 of support, that's very significant. All right, and I hope that you understand that. You know, I know that fighting games, unless I'm playing the hot new one, you know, to get that support for a retro fighting game is pretty awesome, and I appreciate that. But we didn't hit a goal. So it's like double frustration because I'm struggling trying to find comp and make an entertaining stream, and it's hard to do when the game is dying, and the support was dwindling. Okay? Excuse me. So here's the deal. This Friday night, we're going to give it another go. If I can find comp, and if we get support, then I will try to keep CVS 2 in the rotation. If we play it again on Friday night, and basically we can't find anyone, and the support has dwindled, I think we're going to give fighting games a rest for a bit. I think we'll retire them for like a month or two. That covers everything that I wanted to talk about. We got a fun week ahead. Thank you for the early support and the early momentum. Please, let's keep that going. Let's hit that goal. Let's hit support goals so we can do DSP Tries It. We have 6 to go. We can do DSP Tries It literally as early as Tuesday. All right, because that's when this new menu is releasing at Taco Bell. So let's go and let's hit goals to see what happens, okay? That's true, too. Daphne says, it would be interesting to see player numbers if Fight Cane didn't exist. This is the problem with the FGC. I'm just going to say this right now, and everyone in the FGC can hate on me. I don't give a shit. Fightcade has killed retro games in the community. Fightcade is the reason why these collections don't have effort put into them. Fightcade is the reason why these collections don't have longevity and why the retro games die. And then everyone runs back to Fightcade because Fightcade is free and illegal, but no one cares. The FGC is really bad when it comes to this kind of thing. Back in the day, I remember when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out on consoles, everyone ran out. Did they buy it? No, they pirated it. They pirated the living shit out of MVC 2. 1,000,000%. Why? Because, it's free, it's cheap. Yeah, but then you kill the business. The whole idea is that if you buy the stuff, okay, then more will be made because the money that you spent on it became profit for the company. So now they are inspired to make more games. When you pirate everything, no one wants to make more games. Do you get it? So when you take a look at Fightcade, all right, why do you think these collections come out without crossplay, without the necessary features to make them have longevity? It's because they know that it's a cheap cash grab. They're going to come out with this. People will buy it, play it for 3 months, and then they're back to Fightcade. If Fightcade didn't exist, these collections would have more longevity. The company would put more effort into them. It's just that simple. Running ROMs and emulators and shit on your fucking PC, you're killing classic games, is what you're doing. You're making it that only a small group of people who are into that emulation community will ever enjoy them. You'll never have the classics be mainstream if the collections die within 3 months because you complained that the collection wasn't perfect and you ran back to fucking Fightcade again. But no one listens. FGC will never listen to someone like me because they think they know better. So I'm sorry, but that's just the case. Now you may argue, well, Fightcade did a service because back in the day, there were no ways to play these games. Well, yes and no. Okay, yes and no. You're right when it comes to the actual arcade perfect versions. But there was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. There was Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition. Okay, they tried. They did try to release versions. And those versions did succeed for a bit. But ultimately what ended up happening is people would run back to Fightcade. So the initial reason behind Fightcade makes sense. And I support that. I want to have, what is it called? What's the word that starts with a P that means that you're supporting games so that they have a healthy life cycle and they don't go into retirement because no one can access them? Posterity. I support Fightcade's efforts to make posterity for these older games. But the truth is that when the effort actually finally goes into it and you have a version of Super Turbo that comes out or a version of Third Strike that comes out or this collection that has CVS 2, right? You have your version. So why are you playing Fightcade? So now the collection dies. Everyone runs back to Fightcade. That's it. Back to obscurity. Oh, well, that's what you wanted. Why? Because it's cheap and free. Yeah, but then you'll never have comp, you fucking idiot. Or how dumb can you be? I don't know. I swear to God, there's no one in FGC that speaks like reason to these people. Like they just listen to their own circle jerking. Everything is fucking unicorns and rainbows community, and they don't listen to reason. Like, and the other sad part about Fightcade, it's not safe. Fightcade is not safe. Literally right now, anyone you play on Fightcade, you could use an IP sniffer, get their IP address, and fuck with them. I'm not saying that's going to happen for the vast majority of the FGC. I'm just saying that's a problem. You would think that in all these years that Fightcade's been out, they would have fixed that problem. But obviously they don't care, or it would have been fixed already. I can't play Fightcade because I can't have my IP sniffed out by a bunch of fucking stalkers losers, you know? So it's just really dumb. I would love to play a collection that has full features, crossplay, all the things you want from a game that's going to have longevity, like the effort they put into Street Fighter 6. Imagine if they put out a collection that was the Big Four. Imagine that. They actually called it the Capcom's Big Four collection. MVC 2, CVS 2, Super Turbo, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. All have crossplay, features, sweet customizable colors, unique ranking systems, punishment for people who rage quit, all the things you want. And they sell it for like 60, 70 bucks. But because they support it, those games get vibrant communities again. And now you go to tournaments and play the best versions of these games. You know what I'm saying? No. Let's run back to Fightcade. All right. So go play these old games with the same 7 people you play against in the entire fucking world. And don't complain that they're dead. Don't complain that when a collection comes out, it dies within 3 months. Because the reason you run back to Fightcade and you pirate the game, that's what happens. If you want to have something be successful, you have to support it, not pirate it. And by the way, a lot of people in chat screaming about VPNs. You obviously have no idea what you're talking about. VPNs change your IP address. You're right. They also add input delay. There is literally not a VPN on the planet that is input free. So if you're trying to play a fighting game competitively and you need to use a VPN to do it, you're creating lag. You're making it shitty. You cannot use a VPN to play Fightcade. And by the way, for the record, that doesn't stop people from DDoSing you. They can still get your IP, DDoS you. Now you got to use a different VPN. Then they DDoS the next IP. Then you should change to a different VPN to another IP. Then they DDoS that IP. It doesn't solve the problem. All it is they don't get your fixed IP, so they can't just DDoS you when you're not playing, but they can still DDoS you when you're playing. Literally, what you're saying makes no sense. All right, we have some extra time. Whatever you guys would like to talk about, tag me in the chat. Let's do a little bit of Q&A to end the show today. All right, and please, like I said, let's get some more support. Let's hit $100 of support by the end of the show. That way, we only have 50 to go for Metal Gear, and we can hit that goal easily by the end of this stream. Okay, anything else, guys? Can we get some more support for the end of the podcast? How about we get one more of each? We get one more sub, one more super chat, one more tip, and one membership. That will probably get us to 100, more than likely. Can we do that? So we got our sub. So Kick is doing their part today. Can we get a super chat? Can we get a tip? And can we get a member? Because I'll be honest, Kick has actually supported well this morning, and I'm pleased with that. Thank you to both Extra Bondage and Lance Catamaran for your support this morning. Now, can we get some support on the YouTube side? So we got a tip. We got a sub. Can we get a super chat? And can we get a membership to end the show? Let's go. Come on, let's get a super chat. We're about to be halfway to the goal. Let's go. Let's hit halfway to the goal, and then we'll adjourn.
I got the drip, go. 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 It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm gonna have to clear? Like, this is what I mean, these dumb kids. This is what it is, it's dumb kids.